Hey everyone, as always, Dylan Miller Prospecting, and today we're going to be panning out something a little bit different. Allison over at Yukon Alley sent me this. It's a bag of her migraine Paydirt. Now this is not something you can buy on her website. This is actually part of their concentrates they get every single year, and it drives them crazy, gives them migraines, and they have nightmares about having to pan it out. So she sent me a little bit of it so I can have migraines and maybe a few nightmares. But let's just go to the overhead and check out this Paydirt a little bit closer. Well, here's the Paydirt, and we're just going to weigh it up out of curiosity, see how much material I'm going to have to deal with, and 15.7 ounces, so roughly a pound. And I'm definitely going to rinse this bag out. We'll check out the material. Allison did say she added some extra material to here. This is typical of what you would get in her Paydirt. And she added that to the nightmare stuff just so I wouldn't totally go crazy and have a migraine right off the bat. So I'm not going to classify this down. Actually, I probably will classify it down. I'm just going to classify it down to get the bigger material out. Probably 20 mesh in that. But we're just going to go and start panning this out. Oh, magnet. Let's see how much. This magnetic stuff. And she also told me a lot of the stuff I might find in here, magnetic stuff, will be pretty different. She said they get a lot of gene rivets and other things in here. Yeah. No idea what that is, but there we go. I'm going to go classify this down, and we're just going to start panning it out because, again, this is not a review or anything else like that. This is just me panning out some of Yukon Alley's mining concentrates to see what they have to deal with. So have some water, not the cleanest water, but I don't think it'll matter. Have my pan, and I ended up classifying it down plus 10 and minus 10. So we're going to go through the plus 10 first. I don't believe there'll be any gold in here, but I want to see if there is anything else. I see some shiny stuff. It's like copper or something. I don't know what that is. But we're just going to go through it, see what's in there. Maybe find something interesting. And then we will cut and go through the minus 10. And this is the stuff that's supposed to be the migraine stuff that they have nightmares about. So we'll do that next. First, let's do the easy stuff. Well, got a lot of the lighter material out of it. That's all I'm really working on right now. I am being extra careful because this gold is very, very dark. It's really hard to see. So I don't want to go too quickly, and I'm just taking my time, knocking off the very light stuff, and we're just going to keep working at it, keep panning it until there's nothing but gold left. So this might take a while. This is taking extremely long time. I can only record for so much before the videos take too long. So I'm going to cut it here. We're going to come back till it's pretty much nothing but gold, because you can't really see it in this, but most of this is actually gold. I mean, there is a ton of gold in there. It's just not bright and shiny. So I'm going to go work this some more, come back, and we'll record some more after I've worked it down a little bit more. It's getting there. Taking a long time. And the reason I'm not backwashing this out is because there is gold in here. I'm just trying to, right now, get the majority of it clean, and then I'll take that out and then pan through it again. It's much easier than trying to get it 100% clean. If you can get it 80% clean the first go and it's still all in the pan, then it's much easier to do a second time. And if I dump this out, that, you know, those 10 or 12 pieces of gold will just be impossible to get out. So well, I think that's it for me. The gold, probably about 10%, 15% of this isn't gold. I'm gonna go pull it out of the pan, dry it off, clean it up a little bit more, repaint it some more, get what I missed out of the bottom here, and we'll be right back. Well, it's been 2 days, but I finally finished panning out that 1 pound bag from Yukon Alley. And as you saw, I recovered 5.7 grams. and it took me the full 2 days to recover it because this stuff really is a nightmare to pan out. And the reason for that is because some of this material, about 6 to 8 ounces of the 1 pound, was actually magnetic concentrates. When Yukon Alley cleans out her mats, they run a very large magnet over the material to pull out any heavies, magnetite or iron, or even pieces of trash. And as you might know, if you've ever used a magnet on Paydirt, sometimes pieces of gold can get trapped in there. And those typically are the hardest pieces of gold to pan out because it is either fine gold, flat gold, or gold that is still attached to host rock. And that's what all this stuff was that I had to pan out. And it's also why anyone who's recently bought a bag of Paydirt from Yukon Alley has been getting some really high ROIs. Because when Allison makes up a bag of Paydirt, she also adds in about a teaspoon of this magnetic cons. And this year, those magnetic cons are extremely heavy in gold. Based on my calculations, talking to Allison and seeing some of the reviews, I figure that this magnetic concentrates had about 0.75 to 1 gram per ounce. And she was adding in about a 1/4 ounce to every bag, not to add more gold, but just to make things a little bit more difficult. And she didn't know that there was that much gold in this concentrates, which is why everyone had a really good bag of Paydirt from Yukon Alley this year. But it's also extremely tough to pan out because, as I said, it's either very fine gold, flake gold, or gold attached to host rock. In fact, here is a short clip of some of that gold still attached to host rock. Now that video was magnified 5 times because those pieces of gold are extremely small and there's almost all host rock, very little gold attached to each one. In fact, that one red piece was pretty indistinguishable from any of the other red rocks that were in that Paydirt until you flipped it over to see the small pieces of gold attached. And here's another clip of just that little red rock. So an extremely difficult bag of Paydirt to pan out from Yukon Alley. This stuff really was a nightmare. Not only did I have to pan it out extremely slowly 3 times, but then I had to go back through the material with tweezers and magnifying glass and just look for those little pieces of gold attached to host rock because those were the hardest to capture. But I had a ton of fun panning this out. Even though it was a nightmare, it was a great nightmare to pan out. It was definitely the hardest bag of Paydirt that I've ever panned out that wasn't just micro gold. It had some bigger pieces that were much more difficult to actually recover than the micro gold itself. So overall, a wonderful time, but it was a nightmare. So thank you very much, Allison, for sending that to me so I could have nightmares and experience the headaches that this Paydirt causes. So that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Happy panning. And if you're not already a subscriber, think about hitting that subscribe button below.